Fast facts, the president's annual physical exam. Presidents, obviously being the president, you need to be checked up by the doctor. Even when we were in the military, airborne physical every 6 months.
No, it wasn't.
Or every year, once a year?
It was a standard physical every year and an airborne physical every 4 to 6 years.
And we had to go to the doctor like every 6 months. I think it's because we were deployed so much.
It could be that, and it also could be of your clearance.
It could be because of the clearance. And I mean, we were also in high parasite zones. I mean, we had one guy come back with something had crawled up his urethra.
Oh, God.
Yeah. The team that was rotating out as we were rotating in, we were like, go buy condoms from the ship store. But yeah, we had some form of a physical every 6 months. So
yeah, well, it's rough, man. But
I was only airborne for a couple of seconds while I was with civil affairs.
I spent 21 years on jump status.
Yeah. Yep.
21 out of 33.
Yeah. There you go. That's a lot. God damn.
Yeah, I jumped a lot.
Yeah.
That's why I got a fucked up back.
There you go. There you go. I've got messed up knees from our 120-pound rucks. Fast facts, the presidential annual physical exam on January 12th. President Trump underwent his first physical examination as commander-in-chief. Never mind the 4 previous to that. Reports from this checkup aren't usually front-page news. There's a heightened interest in Trump's health because of reports about his fast food diet, poor sleep schedule, and lack of exercise. Okay, look, on those points right there in particular, some people just don't need a lot of sleep. They don't. I am 5 or 6 hours, and I'm golden.
Wow. In the past 20 years or 21 years now, I've got maybe between 40 and 60 good nights of sleep in 2 decades.
That sucks, though.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That hurts.
Yeah, what are you going to do? That's why I'm on the 65 and out plan.
There you go. My dad slept 4 to 5 hours a night.
Yeah, I can't.
Tops. I mean, and he was fine. As far as the food thing goes, some people are fucking billy goats. Some people can eat anything their entire lives and nothing ever happens to them. And then some people, if they even look at a cheeseburger wrong, they gain 400 pounds.
Yeah, they pull a pin on the fat grenade.
Yeah.
That's exactly. Accidental discharge.
It is an ND. So, is the president required to undergo an annual physical? By law, no, but the ritual has become an expected task for modern presidents. And frankly, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, if you have
the president.
access to the football of all the nuclear codes to all of our missiles, you can pick up a phone and have the Navy send out all of the, the nuclear submarines.
Yeah.
One of those could literally destroy civilization.
Let's make it even simpler than that. In his role of commander-in-chief, he's in charge of all of us, right?
Yeah.
He should have to go through the same physicals that we go through.
Especially if you're going to be, have the ability to send us to our deaths.
Yep. Where does the exam take place? Walter Reed. We all know that. That actually, I know a couple of guys who ended up going through there after coming back from...
I was one of them.
Oh, you went through Walter Reed? Yeah. That's actually a really good hospital from what I hear.
It was okay.
Tell us what. Yeah,
I spent. I don't even remember how many weeks in Langstuhl, Germany, and then when they sent me to Walter Reed after that, I spent like 3 months there.
Okay,
and they literally took blood every day. Wow. I got an MRI.
No, that's not necessary.
Well, I was the TBI test guy because it was the signature wound of Iraq.
Yeah.
In Afghanistan, the IEDs.
Yep.
So I was there for about somewhere between 2 and 3 months. They took blood every single day. I got an MRI every 3rd day. And, they put me through neuropsych therapy and all that stuff to try to test where I was.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Wow.
Yeah,
and, I would imagine a president or a congressman gets a little better treatment at Walter Reed.
Yeah, plus
or Bethesda.
The Walter Reed's haunted as fuck.
No.
Oh yeah.
Who is the doctor in this case? Navy Rear Admiral Ronnie L. Jackson, who has been the lead White House doctor since 2013, oversaw Trump's physical exam for 2018.
He's fucked.
This was 2018, so this was the first presidency. If he's still the doctor, he's in for a world of hurt.
Yes, he is.
Jackson, a White House physician since 2006, conducted 2 of President Barack Obama's exams. Jackson has attended the Camp David presidential retreat as physician supervisor and supervised health care for senior staff and the cabinet, according to the Associated Press. Now, I know this one from actual experience when we had one of the we had Sextate and SecDef coming country.
Ooh.
Even Sextate and SecDef, they travel with a medical team capable of performing at least what's it called? Stabilization surgery.
So it's basically 18 Delta.
Yeah, I would imagine there's probably an 18 Delta with them.
Well, first of all, if you're going to have any kind of trauma, you need an 18 Delta with you. Those guys are
crazy.
miracle
They're
workers.
so good.
Yeah. I can't say anything. Well, I can say negative stuff about them, but
I can. I have one.
But their medical skills,
yeah,
awesome.
Nobody's better, in my opinion.
Yeah, like if you get shot, on the battlefield, and you have an 18 Delta with you, your chances of survival go way up.
Yeah,
because he can do intermediate to minor surgeries.
Yeah,
nothing really super sensitive, but he can easily, if you have a sucking chest wound, he can take care of that. If you don't need a tourniquet,
we were at Impossible City at Fort Ord right before they closed it, and we were doing the little mount thing, and the medic on duty was Sergeant First Class Bauman, and he was a retiring. We were at the language school. Just to give you an idea, you don't just go through language school. No, you've got to be able to use your language in the middle of a firefight at a mount site.
Nice.
Anyway, Sergeant Bauman said, if any of you idiots goes down with dehydration, I have something special for you. Sure enough, Jakey goes down with dehydration.
There's always one.
And Bauman goes, told you. He had a bag of Fringers that he had temperature controlled to just below body temperature, which, according to Jake, as he was screaming, announced that it feels like there are ants crawling through your entire body.
Yep.
Yeah. So he deliberately tortured Jake, and we all got the hint after that and emptied canteens and went and refilled them. But anyway, these presidential examinations, sorry, momentary brain fart there, are conducted by serious, these guys are good doctors. They are. And the people that are around them are good as well, like the 18 Deltas that we're talking about. There are also probably Navy corpsmen that are like tier 1 SEAL level that are involved, I would imagine.
I don't know. But you figure the president on his Air Force One, I'm pretty sure they have a minor surgical suite in there.
For the president, I'm sure they've got the full thing.
Yeah.
That's why I pointed out that just SecDef and SecState had these guys that were capable of stabilization surgery. And they had like 5 or 6 people just in their little medical staff that were traveling with them.
Well,
so that was Madeleine Albright and SecDef Cohen.
Okay.
So
what are you going to do?
Anyway, try Madeleine Albright for treason if she was still alive. She's the one who screwed up that program I talked about. She killed a 40-year covert program with her mouth. What tests are run? Blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, heart rate, and weight. According to a copy of Obama's results, the physical will also include tests by system: eyes, thyroid, pulmonary system, heart, intestines, neurosystem, skin, ears, nose, and throat. But not all the tests run are necessarily disclosed. The White House doctor is still bound by the same privacy rules requiring medical confidentiality, also known as the HIPAA laws.
HIPAA.
And that's fine. That's fine. All I want to know is the commander-in-chief, who's in charge of sending all of us overseas to do terrible things to people, is he ready for duty?
Yep.
I'll take that. I don't need to know his particulars.
Well, let's just be honest. We're going to have to put an age limit on the president at some point because people are living older and older and older now. And I'm just not comfortable with 80-year-old men becoming the president of the United States.
Oddly, here we go down my little history rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
Many of the stories that you hear Plato and Homer and like Cicero talking about, they talk about some of the older statesmen that are still functioning and everything. And one of them was known for being extremely athletic and vigorous even into his old age. And at the age of 87, fell off of his favorite horse.
And that did him in.
And that did him in. So the old age thing, I think it goes in cycles,
You
honestly.
think so?
Yep. I think it goes. I think humanity goes, hey, I'm going to live for a really long time. No, fuck this.
Yeah.
And then back up again.
And we're living a long time. No, we're not so much. Oh yeah, we're doing great. We're gonna live a long time. Oh,
hell,
not
here
so
we
much.
go again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly think that there's a cycle to it because I've found a lot of references in historical books of people living quite a while.
Mm.
And then you get around to the medieval period where you've got like the plague that wipes out a quarter of the continent like that. And you're going to get a lot of young deaths there just from infections and typhoid and that sort of thing. Anyway, so those are the tests. Now what? What about mental health? The exam does not necessarily include a cognitive or psychiatric assessment. The White House said Trump would not undergo a psychiatric evaluation during his physical. The president did, however, participate in a cognitive test called the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, which is designed to detect cognitive impairment. The president earned a perfect score. We had the MMPQ,
the
multiple personality questionnaire.
Mm-hmm.
I know they go through it in SF.
I did. I took that twice in the selection.
Yeah.
We got people kicked out because they failed it.
Sure, you show up. Hey, I like to fuck monkeys while blowing things up, and they're whoop.
Yeah, they got gated on the first gate.
Yeah,
because they give you the psycho test within 2 or 3 days of
I got
arrival.
as far as the first one.
Yeah,
I got as far as the first one.
Oh, there you go.
Because they give it to you the first day.
Yeah.
At any rate, yeah, those things there. As far as the psychology tests go, we had a psychologist in our unit, and when you came back from a deployment, they'd go and they'd have like a couple of questions to ask you, and if you scored poorly, then you were scheduled for a thing. But obviously, they're not going to do the whole unit, sit everybody down with one guy. Let's see. How quickly do we learn the results? It is customary for the White House to release a more detailed report soon after the exam. In 2018, for example, reporters were given a write-up of the results and an opportunity to ask questions of Jackson during a press briefing several days after the physical. How trustworthy are the results? This exam, at least in modern history, has been a way to assure the American public that the sitting president is fit for a duty. And away we go. President Bill Clinton's doctor cataloged his struggles to maintain a healthy weight in office and on the campaign trail, but notes presidential historian and author Robert Dallek said there's no such thing as a definitive history of presidential health. Okay.
Well, who was the president that was in the wheelchair? Was that Roosevelt?
That was Roosevelt. Obama smoked also. But so what? Bill Clinton was a little fat. Obama had a cigarette now and then. I mean,
yeah, not a big deal.
Yeah, I think that kind of stuff is just nonsense and unnecessary. I mean, they're not, showing up on the front line for combat. Have presidents ever concealed medical issues? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Often presidents have hidden their health problems from the public. At least in the last 100 years, the following were kept from the public in some form: Grover Cleveland's jaw cancer, Woodrow Wilson's stroke, Franklin Roosevelt's heart disease, polio, and paralysis. There it is. Franklin Roosevelt was in a wheelchair, I think.
Yep.
Eisenhower's heart attack and John F. Kennedy's surprise haircut. I mean, Addison's disease.
Well, he also had back problems.
Kennedy?
From his military days.
He was a PT guy.
Yeah.
Patrol torpedo.
Yeah.
Not physical training.
That's what he said. His back was screwed up from.
Yeah. I can imagine that was so because the Navy was a real actual job then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was back when the Navy was dangerous.
Yeah, very dangerous.
But he was on a PT boat, and those things go pretty fast. And
yes.
If you've ever been on a boat at speed, you do a lot of this. Boom, boom.
Oh, dude, that sucks.
And if you're sitting in a seat, it really wrecks your lower back, your discs back there.
Yeah, you learn very quickly not to lock your knees.
Yeah. When I was working in Phoenix, we had a guy, one of the stockbrokers.
Right.
Used to race professionally on boats, and his back was just thrashed, and he was only like 32.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
he wore like a serious brace, one that he had to tighten with a wrench, and it would like compress his spine and straighten it out so he could do his job.
That's crazy.
He's probably in a wheelchair now.
Wow.
Because that was in 1996. Yeah.
Holy smoke.
Yeah. He's pretty.
That's rough. I mean, I've been on the smaller boats. The big boats, you don't feel a damn thing. But the smaller, fast boats, yeah, it beats the crap out of you.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the boats.
Not a fan. I joined the Army to stay on dry land.
Me too.
Of course, my first real world mission, USS Blue Ridge.
Ha ha ha.
Yeah, supporting fucking Ranger.
Nice.
Anyway,
what are you going to do?
Suck it up?
I don't know. But here's the thing with the whole Biden.
Yeah. We're getting to that right now. Right. I wanted people to see what the presidential fitness thing was like, so you could see that they are at least yearly. They're looking at these guys.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that a doctor comes through his office at least once a week and says, "How you feeling, sir?"
Yeah, I get a physical every year.
Yep.
I don't play around with that shit.
If I am not mistaken, there is actually a fully functioning medical couple of rooms in the White House somewhere.
Yeah, you're probably correct.
I've never actually been in the White House myself, but if I had a place like that, there would be definitely some sort of something like that. But let's go back and look at July 20th, 2022, because he said,
and because it was a 4-lane highway that was accessible, my mother drove us, and rather than us be able to walk. And guess what? The first frost, you know what was happening? You had to put on your windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer. And why can't, for the longest time, Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation.
Oh,
okay.
Hello.
So Biden telling on himself again.
Yeah.
Yeah, he never has told on himself before.
No, nothing like that's ever happened before. But that back in 2022, and then here he comes with the prostate cancer now. And they say it's stage 9. I've only ever heard of stage 4.
Yeah, I thought stage 4 is the end.
The end, yeah. Jim Morrison starts singing songs.
So yeah, I mean, well, first of all, for the prostate cancer to escape the prostate capsule takes anywhere from 6 to 12 to 15 years, depending upon your genetics. So at a minimum, he's known about this for at least 6 years.
Okay.
At a maximum, he's known about it for 15.
Interesting.
Yep. But you're not going to have, prostate cancer boring through your prostate into your bones overnight. And also they said it's an aggressive cancer. He might have got the vaccine.
Yeah, he might have had a predisposition for prostate cancer, and the vaccine may have triggered it. Well, that's not a thing. Yes, it is. It's been proven over and over again that these vaccines are causing turbo cancers.
Well, they're crippling your immune system in certain ways that allow cancers to get out of control and grow rapidly.
Yep.
Watch Grunt Speak Live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporters Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.